DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. First of all, I just came out of the grocery store, and any of you who works at a job that is that level, like an entry-level job, where you're doing something that could be replaced by a computer, they are working to replace your ass faster than you will even know what the fuck happened. So please step your skills up. Listen to my podcast, watch my videos, read my books, and learn the game, because they are about to replace you. They actually already had a meeting to replace you. They just didn't do it just yet. But anyway, that's not even the topic of this video. This is really for all y'all to understand, where I come from as far as the topics that I talk about when it comes to business, when it comes to personal growth, personal development, and you becoming the version of yourself that you really want to be. Because really, that's what I do for a living, is I help people become the version of themselves, yourself, that you really want to be, that you've always seen yourself as becoming, but for whatever reason up to this point you haven't yet become that person. But you're just looking for that key, that nugget, those steps, that process for you to actually get to being that person. I'm going to show you how that's done. That's what I do through my material, whether it's a video, a tweet, a text, a book, a podcast, whatever. And I want to make sure that you all understand that Dre Baldwin and the work on your game philosophy is not interchangeable with any of these other people that you see out here talking about their stuff. Now, you probably know, if you've heard of me before, you've seen my stuff before, you know my background is in sports. I played overseas basketball for almost a decade, and while I was doing that, I started talking about things like mindset, mental toughness, and discipline and confidence, and that morphed into what we now know as my philosophy, which is called work on your game. Now, there are a lot of people who come from a sports background, and they talk about similar things, personal development. Nowadays, you got a lot of people doing it. You got coaches, you have trainers, you got players trying to do it, many of them, and many of these people ain't shit. They suck. Their materials is very canned, is very the same thing that everybody else is saying. They're saying the same stuff. They're not really giving you anything new, and their credibility is based on, and this is the real thing that I want y'all to get about me compared to any of them, a lot of the athlete people who are doing this stuff, their credibility is based on who they stood next to. Now, the good thing about coming from the sports world is that sports is the ultimate meritocracy. Everything is based on the scoreboard. It's black and white. You can't lie about what it says on the scoreboard. Scoreboard says you lost, then you lost. Or it doesn't matter what your opinion is, doesn't matter how you feel. The scoreboard tells no lies. That's the good thing about anybody who's coming from the sports world. In the sports world, we have objective measures of how well you are performing in your game. And if your game is underperforming, you can't front, you can't claim victimhood, you can't do any of the stuff that people do these days to make excuses when they're not performing. You can't get away with that in sports. So that's the good thing about anybody who comes from the sports world, is that there's no fronting, there's no pretending, there's no lying. The challenge that you get with a lot of people coming from the sports world who try to get into this, what we call thought leadership space or intellectual property space, is that a lot of their credibility, or the reason that they believe they're worthy of respect, is because they tell you who they stood next to. You got trainers who will tell you, they'll name drop all the NBA and NFL players or MLB players or Olympic athletes who they stood next to. I trained this guy. This guy is one of my clients. I grew up with this person. I worked out with this guy and that guy. They're name dropping people just to get credibility and respect. And that's fine. I'm not mad at them for it, because there's a lot of them who built their whole careers off of standing next to people, and that worked for them. And this will work for some of you. Some of you are going to create your biggest successes and your biggest pieces of credibility, and the things that will matter most about you when you die will be about who you stood next to, who you were cool with, whose entourage you were a part of. But I want you to understand something about me, and as an extension, this is going to be something about you. I don't stand next to anybody. I'm not in anybody's entourage. I'm not anybody's sidekick. I don't name drop anybody to earn your respect or get you to listen to what I have to say. And I want you to understand that if you're coming into my world and you're going to learn from my philosophy, and you want to get game from me to take yourself to where you want to be, it is because you're that same type of person. You're not the type of person who wants to be in somebody's entourage. You want to be somebody's sidekick. You don't want to name drop somebody who's known just so you can be respected and listened to. You want to be the type of person who builds your name and your credibility, and you get your business and your success off of being who you are, standing on your own two, and standing alone if necessary, until or unless other people want to come stand next to you. And that's completely different from you wanting to stand next to somebody else. So I want to make sure you all understand that. And when you come into this world, that's exactly what you're getting. That's who you're getting. And if you're coming into my world, this is what I'm going to help you do. All right. I'm not teaching you how to go stand next to somebody else, or how to be on somebody else's team, or, as I said, in somebody else's entourage, or a part of somebody else's crew, so you can name drop them for your respect. You want to be the person who gets name dropped for somebody else's respect. And just so you understand, just as surely as you understand that, then we can continue on this mission, continue on this path of you taking this work on your game philosophy and taking yourself, your game, your business, your life where you want to take it. But I just want to make sure everybody understands exactly who you're listening to, why you're listening, and where we're going with this. Is I don't want anybody to be confused about the path that I'm taking you on. All that said, make sure you text me so you can get my daily motivation text. I send it out for free every single day to everyone who's in my texting community. My number is down below in the description. It's 305-384-6894. And when you're ready to go to that next level with me, first of all, go get my books. The links are down the description of this video, wherever you're watching this. And then the next step after that is to get into my programs. I have a coaching program called the Bulletproof Mastermind. That's my group program. And I have a one-on-one program. That's the next level after that. I also have my live events. So there's a whole process that you go through in this work on your game world. So if you are new, welcome. If you're not new, but you haven't taken any of these steps yet, let's get to it. Work on your game. Dre, all